You're listening to Casual Alterations, a podcast by and for fans of Altered TCG. Here's your hosts, Kari and Ian.
This might be cheating. Bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum. Bum bum bum.
That would be
bum bum bum.
Imperial March for Star Wars, Alex, for 500.
I'm sorry, you did not phrase that in the form of a question.
I do not question anything when it comes to Star Wars.
Welcome, bienvenue.
Bonjour and hello. Welcome to Casual Alterations Podcast, the least professional, most artsy podcast about Equinox's TCG Altered.
This is a podcast where we talk about Altered and why we love it. I am Kari, also known as That Tokens Lady.
And I'm Ian, the token husband. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about art, specifically your art, Kari.
Oh, my art.
Your art.
Oh, yeah, I guess I do some of that. But first, we want to remind you that this podcast is brought to you by you when you support us on Make Playing Cards or Etsy or perhaps even Patreon.
Where you can find that wonderful art in either Make Playing Cards as cards or as proxy tokens, or in the Patreon as also giveaways, including a wonderful map that you spent like 80 hours building.
Yes, it felt like 800 hours researching and drawing hundreds of tiny little trees and mountains and lines, so many border lines. And one of which, the entire island, I had to redraw because I don't know how I accidentally deleted one of the lines. And I couldn't undo it because I didn't notice it until much later as my map was zoomed in so far. I was working on trees and then I had to redraw that whole border. That sucked.
You can also follow us on Blue Sky with our semi-daily posts, which means that I'm going to try to do 3 of them every day. But if you get 3, be happy because you might not see that on a regular basis.
We have tens of followers who really expect their 3 daily posts. So you got to step it up.
So art, Kari, is art your full-time gig?
No, I have a super exciting job working for an office doing computery stuff, lots of document formatting, which I guess could be considered art. A little bit. Sometimes I do art for my job. I think I made a flow chart last week. I traced a logo for somebody one time. Sometimes I draw things for,
So this is definitely a hobby of yours.
It's a hobby. I think I wouldn't enjoy it as much if it was my job, honestly. Maybe that's just the ADHD talking, but if you try to monetize something too hard, it stops being fun. I do the art because I love the art. Sometimes I feel inspired to do art and I do it. I think if it was my full-time job and someone was telling me what art to do all the time, I would not want to. Like if you're about to take out the garbage and someone tells you to take out the garbage, well, now you don't want to do it anymore. I feel like not saying that art is garbage. I'm just saying you got to wait for the inspiration to hit you sometimes.
Have you done art all your life, or is just...
Yes, I don't remember ever not feeling the urge to make art in some way or another.
So as a kid, were you drawing a lot or painting or...
Oh, my mom used to say when I was little, we used to do craft things at home all the time. And, I like to color, not very good at coloring inside the lines, but I like to scribble on paper with things. And I've always drawn things. I enjoyed sculpture. I enjoyed painting in school. Stained glass was probably my favorite thing I used to do in school, but that is not a thing you just do at home. Stained glass.
You need a studio, I imagine.
Yep, I did a stained glass project for a class, and it was super fun. Mostly at home, it was drawing because that's the most accessible at-home project that a person can do.
Then what got you into making tokens?
I made my first token as part of a cosplay for a convention. If any of you are Magic fans, really deep cut Magic fans, there is a character card from a set called Unstable, and this character is called the Squirrel Dealer. The thing this card does when it comes in, you ask someone else if they like squirrels, and if they say yes, you get to make a squirrel token and put it onto the battlefield. Well, I thought it would be fun to go as the squirrel dealer and give out squirrels to people at the convention. So I made a squirrel, and it was so fun. I made another squirrel, different squirrel, and then I made a third squirrel, and then I made a fourth squirrel. I had 4 different squirrels that I gave away to people at the convention, and it just sort of exploded from there. I enjoyed doing that so much, I decided to do more of them. I made other tokens for sets that came after that convention, and I would mostly just give them to my friends or to people I played against at conventions.
A couple of your friends have asked you to make some as well.
Yeah, I did have a couple of specific requests. I don't typically do commissions, but for my friends, make exceptions.
The thing that you do a lot of that you really seem to like is the stained glass. Why?
I did. Yeah, I mean, I've always loved the look of stained glass. It just feels I don't know, something about stained glass speaks to my soul. I feel like looking at stained glass just makes my heart happy.
I know it
That
sounds silly.
sounds silly, but I just, sometimes there's just a thing that you like. If you have a favorite color or favorite kind of music or whatever, well, I like stained glass. I used to scribble stained glass things, stained glass and flames. I don't know why specifically. I feel like drawing a flame is similar to a sort of stained glass look. Maybe that's
okay.
why I like doing Buddha, because it was both together.
Okay, an animal and stained glass and
Fire also. Fire
yes.
and glass and animals all in one. Like, what's not to love?
Absolutely. So you started out doing squirrels. What other magic tokens did you do?
I also have bears, a rabbit. I have a crab. That one was requested by someone. I did a crab. I did a sapperling.
So this is just kind of you doing a few things. It's not like you're an illustrator for
no, nobody asked me to make these. It's just a thing that I do. I just like doing it, and so I do. I think the reason that we started doing them for Altered, it goes back to cosplay, because cosplay is a thing that I have always admired when other people do it. I do not have the follow through to be able to do a good cosplay. So I had a plan that I was going to cosplay as Tasia for Gen Con, and it just did not go well. I was frustrated with the costume. It was making me angry because it wasn't working right. And you said, you should make a token. Just put aside the costume and make a token. And I said, okay. So I did Buddha. I made Buddha. And it did take me a long time. It took me a long time to get this stained glass look right. I wasn't happy with how the glass was looking. And I found a set of special brushes online, which really made it, elevated the art a lot, I thought. So I just had so much fun doing that. I said, well, now I'm going to do another one. And the next one I did was the brass bug. And I said, well, stained glass doesn't work for this. This is not a stained glass piece. What can I do for this? And I said, well, this is a robot. It's a mechanical thing. What does it need? It needs blueprints. So I made the schematic brass bug, and I really enjoyed that. And my next plan was to do Maw. I had sort of a vision of like a galaxy style thing, and that was not working out at all either. I was getting frustrated with that as well. So I put that aside and decided to do the soldier. And instead of doing a stained glass soldier, you suggested that I should try a Lego one, because I don't know if you know this about me, folks, but I also love Lego. I have a number of Lego sets in I think every room of our house, almost, except the bathrooms probably. We have Lego flowers in the kitchen. It's just, Lego's a fun thing. And I said, you know what, that would be great. So I did a Lego Ortis Recruit, and I really enjoyed that. And once I finished that, suddenly the world of Maw opened up and the vision was clear, and I got that done too. But I did it in more of a comic style instead of the galaxy style I originally imagined. And I was much happier with that.
And then you went on to do the moth one, which is a stained glass one.
Yes, the stained glass Mana Moth. That was another one I had a different vision for originally, and it wasn't working out, so I put it aside and I did something different, and then I came back to it. I had a vision of the stained glass moth at night as I was trying to fall asleep, and the next day I picked up my iPad and I finished it. I think it took me about 8 hours. That was it. Once the vision was there, it was no trouble at all.
And what about the inspiration for the map?
The map, I just I kept seeing the map, the Asgartha map, on the website, just sort of when I was browsing, looking at other things. And I said, you know, it would be great is if there was like a Tolkien style map of this world. I looked around and there wasn't anything like that. And I said, you know, I'm just going to make it myself. So I started drawing it. It took a very, very long time to get to a point where I was happy with the shape of the lands and everything.
Yeah, I would say probably 20% of your time was actually testing things out, trying new stuff.
Hmm.
And instead of like putting it aside, you just went on to another part of the map and then came back to it.
Yeah, that's the great thing about a large piece is if you're getting frustrated with that, you don't have to give it the whole thing. You just pick a different spot.
Yeah, because I know the trees were difficult for you at one point, and then you said, "Okay, I'm gonna do the mountains."
Yes, that is what happened. Yep, I was trying to find a way to do each tree individually. That was a mistake. I set it aside. I went and did the mountains, and I watched a video of someone who was drawing out a Tolkien map of the Middle Earth. I don't remember what part of Middle Earth. I think it was one of the Hobbit maps or something.
Uh-huh.
And I watched how he did it, and I said, oh, no, that's actually way better than what I was trying to do. So I went back and I did a section in the upper left corner of the map, and it went great. And I said, okay, that's it. I got to do this now. So I did trees for, I think, a week and a half. Just trees, so many trees. Trees everywhere, nonstop trees.
I noticed that you've got like things that I didn't even know existed, like pathways of ships and
Yes.
like cities that I didn't know were there.
Things that I found on the maps while I was looking for answers to questions, other questions, different questions that I had. There are cities that I did not know about that aren't even mentioned in the lore yet. I'm sure they will come up eventually. I don't think there's a single thing on that map that exists for no reason. I think we just don't know what the reason is for some of them. Because not all of them are in stories that I've read. There are many cities and locations that are marked on that map that I can't wait to find out what they are.
There's a Kurikami proxy token.
Yes, the Kurikami. Again, stained glass. I had a vision for that too. I wanted to do a stained glass dragon when the Dragon Shade token was released, and it just didn't seem right for what the lore said about it.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't do it at that time. Instead, I did more of an ink style painting for that because
and you got the two little people sitting there in the front too. I don't think you could have gotten them in the stained glass.
I am so proud of those tiny people staring at that enormous dragon that is flying over them. And I wanted that one to be more simple because it wasn't a dragon, it was just a hint of a dragon, right? So it didn't need to be a full piece in my opinion. When they said that they were going to be releasing the Kurikami and explained that it was going to be a card that would be available to everyone for print on demand, that was when I said, okay, this is where the stained glass dragon belongs. And that one was a lot quicker to do than I thought it would be. The slowest part, as always, is painting all the tiny squares, because this one has a lot of small pieces in it. And if it was a real window, I think somebody would be injured in the process of making this window because of all the tiny little corners in it. And I'm not trying to pat my own back, but I do really think it's beautiful, and I would love to have it as a real window in our house.
All right, we'll put that on the back burner, I guess. Well, and then we did a video for all of this. We had been talking about what we can do to try to promote it, and I was actually talking to different people and saying, this is going to be a lot of work for me to do a video. I think I can remember how to do this from my short time at Prairie Public, and I talked to other people. And then I think it was you that said to me.
I said, if only we knew an Emmy Award-winning television producer who could assist with that.
And that is?
My mother.
Wow.
And shout out to my mom.
Again.
She really stepped up. You know, she's retired, but she came out of retirement to make this video for us, because we just thought it would be fun to have a video that showed this token and sort of revealed it. Not that it needed a reveal, because it's not like a real official card. It's just an art thing that I did, but we just thought it would be fun. And she did such a great job with it. She took it in a direction that we didn't think of ourselves.
No, we tried to be funny and silly. And then when we saw her first cut, we're like, no.
Yeah, no.
We're going to make this serious.
Yeah, the silly idea that we had was funny, but we'll save that for a different video some
Yep.
other day because Mom's video is better.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
that's why she has the Emmy and I don't.
What's next?
I don't talk about what's next.
So we do know.
People have run the numbers and
Yep.
determined they believe that there are 2 tokens in the coming set.
We can guarantee you that
We could probably guarantee you that there is certainly 1 token. Yes.
So are you making a new token?
No.
Oh.
I do not have plans to make any new tokens. I'm working on a different piece that I'm not going to talk about because as soon as I talk about it, it becomes less interesting to the creative part of my brain and I cannot finish it. So I have to keep that a secret. I think 3 people in the world know what that piece is.
We do have something, though, for a card reveal that's going to be coming up for Whispers of the Maze. So be sure that you're paying attention to that. We'll be showing that on our Blue Sky once we get the okay to pass that along to you. It is a very lovely little piece.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to do a 3-part reveal to it, too. So it's going to be great.
Yeah. You know, I forgot to talk about my newest and most exciting piece that
Which
I
is
did.
what?
Oh, well, that would be the stained glass Nosk Ortis Recruit token. New version of the Equinox token that was released for PAX East.
So Loki was distributing one of your tokens? How does
Yes.
that make you feel?
Pretty chuffed. Yeah, I was pretty excited. I did the art. I had a vision. Sometimes it just be like that. You guys, you just get a vision and you have to do the thing and get it out of your brain or else it haunts you. And I had a vision of this stained glass Loki Knox art and I did it. And I sent it to Loki and I said, "Hey, here, I made this." And then later Loki said something about probably getting a new token to give out at future conventions. And he said, "But we would have to commission a new piece." And I said, "But you already have one." And he said, "Oh, really?" That's not exactly what he said, but basically.
He said the Loki version of "Oh Really," which was something in French.
I don't know. I don't remember. I told him he could use the art I sent him as a token, and he did. And I thought, "Oh, that's cool. They're going to use my art on their token. That'll be really fun." I sent him the art, and then he sent me the proof, and it had my name on it. You guys, I was so excited. It's not like an official game piece, but it is playable in the game, and it has my name on it as the artist, and it has our QR code on the front.
Yeah, for Casual Alterations.
On a real altered card. It's just, I can't.
So whose idea was it to bring in the cat? Like that was that.
Oh, well, that's Loki's cat, Yo. His name is Yo. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know. But if you've ever played against Loki in an event, he has his little meeples. That's the Loki Nox token, and the companion token is a little black cat. That was his cat, Yo. I knew when I made this art, I said, no, I have to put Yo in here. He belongs in here. I was so happy with how it turned out.
It looks beautiful. It does. It really does. It's very good work.
Thank you.
We've seen a lot of other artists' tokens that have been sent to us as well that are just outstanding other than just you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Shout out to Merrick Gnome School in the Discord who does beautiful painted tokens. I have a full set. I treasure them. They're absolutely gorgeous. I expect to see more. They are much more prolific than I am.
They're very, I'm not saying that you are you're very good at the stained glass and a few other things you're very good at too, just pop art kind of things. But those things could hang in.
You could slap that on a canvas and hang it on your wall. Those
Yep.
are so beautiful.
Yep, absolutely.
They're so beautiful. I love them. I'm not trying to have a monopoly on the token market. Really, I love seeing the artwork that other people do for Altered. Feel free at any time to share with me because I just love it. I love it all. Even the ones that are hastily sketched clearly on someone's phone in 5 seconds. I love that people are taking the time to do a creative thing, even if you think it's terrible. The idea behind it gives me joy.
And that's going to be it for this week. Thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
And of course, please take a few moments to rate our humble podcast wherever it is you found us.
Go out and find us on the interwebs. We're always Casual Alterations, no spaces.
Send us those likes, comments, shares, etc., etc. And of course, check out our Patreon, support our endeavors so we can continue to make this great content for you, or even if it's not great, mediocre content, enthusiastically mediocre content for you to enjoy.
Thank you for taking the time to do that, and have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
This has been Casual Alterations Podcast. For more information, please visit us at casualalterations.wordpress.com.